to another episode of Elite Thinking Club. Obviously, I'm Jules Julien, joined tonight with my co-hosts Liz and Michael. You guys all right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, very good.
Happy days.
Been a while.
Good. It has been a while. It's been a while. I can hear some white noise. Who is that? Whose microphone is that?
One second.
Michael.
It ain't mine.
No worries. I'll edit it out, or I might leave it in. You know, just to let people know it's chill and relaxed. Tonight we are going to be talking about something that's come on my radar again, but we have mentioned it in the past, and that is something known as subliminal messages and PWA, which is perception without awareness. Now, the difference between subliminal messages and PWA, which is perception without awareness, is that a subliminal message is, I can still hear that white noise. What is that? Is that you, Michael?
Yeah, I think it's because I've got fans on because it's hot.
It is very hot. Just take your top off, mate. No one's judging. No one.
No one wants to see that.
We will YouTube. You know that, right?
We're what?
We will get kicked off YouTube if he starts. What I'm saying.
Maybe. Censored. Okay. So, right. Perception without awareness and subliminal messages. Michael, Liz, do you know what the difference is between the two first?
Well, subliminal messaging is when we visualize, when we're watching something, we see something, and messages are put through what's put in front of us, what we're watching, and we might not notice, but it could be a quick flash within something we're watching, and it goes into our brain and makes us act upon that.
Okay, Michael?
I mean, I was going to say pretty much exactly the same as what Liz said.
Sorry, Michael.
Okay. So do you know what perception without awareness is?
I mean, once you start explaining it, I probably have heard about it before.
Mm-hmm. I think we really need to sort your microphone out, Michael, only because you're really quiet and there is white noise. I can barely hear you. I know it's a ball ache, but he's
now going to be sitting there sweating.
Yeah. Just enjoy the sweat. Okay, so you're not wrong in regards to subliminal messages. They are things that are put purposely in front of you, and you would not be able to see it. It goes by unnoticed, but your subconscious has logged it. That is that. But the difference between subliminal messages and perception without awareness. Perception without awareness is when something will happen that you're not paying attention to, but it is there. Let's say, for example, you're walking down the street, or you're sat on a bus, and someone starts whistling a tune that you know, but you're not paying attention to it. You're hearing it, but you're not really logging it. But then later on in the day, you might start whistling the same tune. That's an example.
I have heard of that. Yeah, it's like when someone's like singing a song.
Yes,
and you're not really you said, you're not hearing, but you're not hearing it, and then later on you'll start singing it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then somebody outside it will go, "Oh, he's singing it. He's singing it. He's singing it."
Yes, exactly that. Now, obviously, we have our senses, like sound and smell and sight. These are our the senses that are affected the most by two things: subliminal messages and perception without awareness. Now, the main one with subliminal messages is sight. Yes, you know, we will be watching something or reading something or witnessing something, and as far as we know, we think it's all good. But little do we know, someone somewhere could be putting in subliminal messages that could make us do or act or be a certain way, and we don't even know why we're doing it. So the question is, why is it that some people do things but don't know why they do it? They just did it, and then later on be like, I don't know why I did that.
Yeah, Darren Brown does it a lot in his shows. So a lot of his shows will have all of this stuff in it, so that he can make them do stuff.
It kind of like a form of, well, I suppose it is kind of a form of hypnotizing. Like if you're drifting between your subconscious and your unconscious, and if you do something but you don't realize you're doing it, and then, I mean, if we dig really deep with this, it's like when people have like sleepwalking issues and things like that, and like they end up in court because they've murdered somebody, but then they're like, no, I
yeah,
get in my car and drive my car, I was in bed. No, you actually did.
Yeah.
But isn't it strange, the power of the subconscious and the and the conscious?
Yes, but also how quickly an image can pop up and you don't register it because it was so fast, but you did register it. Like, okay, so
water. They did an experiment on this, and they showed water, but like literally millisecond, like picture of water or a running tap, and it caused lots of people within the theatre to get up and go to the toilet.
Right. Yes.
Good
segue, Liz. Okay, so there's a guy called James Vickery in 1957. I got this from Darren Brown, actually, Michael, claimed that he could have images flash up during cinema movies to influence people to buy more popcorn and drink more Coca-Cola. This apparently, according to him, increased sales by 52%, I think, or 57. It was in the 50s%, but that's twice as much sales. Now, once he said that, every cinema everywhere wanted to do this because obviously it's profitable. But, later on, the United Nations said, no, subliminal indoctrination. Basically, it's a major threat to human rights because, yes, popcorn's one thing. Yes, Coca-Cola is another thing. However, you put in a subliminal message of something else,
dangerous.
Next thing you know, you've got a mosh pit in the cinema. Like, punch the person to your right, everyone just goes bang. 50% of people hit people, and it does make you think or make you feel like we're not stupid enough to not know it's a thing. But I don't want to put myself in this position like I'm smart enough or bulletproof enough to not be affected by these things.
No, I think we all are from a young age. It starts in cartoons, adverts on the TV, like things on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
It's all like pictures and waves, and it gets into our brain. Our brains are powerful, powerful tools. And I think that when certain people with power learn that, then of course this sort of thing happens because it's profitable, isn't it?
It is. And also, this is why I love the ETC. So we obviously start off easy, but we just get deep. We go deeper. I want to ask you guys, like, what can have subliminal messages in, and what you also know can have PWA, perception without awareness, in. Can you give me any examples off the top of your head, or anything you're thinking about that or you think
most films?
Go on,
most films have got it in because that's why product placement is key in films.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you see a can of Coke or a can of Pepsi in the background, just while you're watching the film, you're just going to be thinking about a can of Pepsi.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, like advertising.
Like the phones, when they get the phones out and it's like an Apple phone.
You do it to me, Jules, when we come on here and you start eating.
Yes.
For Christ's sakes, now I'm like thinking, is he eating peanut butter? Is he eating this? Right. And then I go to my fridge and I end up eating when I'm not even hungry, but because you eat, it makes it happen just normally and naturally without the adverts and things. I think it's funny, isn't it, how we can behave off of seeing something.
Mm-hmm.
Our sight is also one of our senses, same as taste and hearing and smell. So I think that it kind of makes sense when you see, like, if I see an advert, or even if I'm watching a movie and somebody's eating something really delicious, or they're like arguing whilst they're eating.
Yes.
Scene is really intense. I'm like, oh yeah, I want some of that pasta. That looks strong stuff. Like, really. Then you sit there and think, should I go and cook something? And I think, oh god damn it. Like, it does like
so, yeah, it does. So remember, I always say this in previous episodes, but I know we've got a lot of new followers, which, by the way, thank you so much, guys, for following us and been with us. But I always mention about how the most grossing, I think that's the right word, grossing series on streaming channels always have this sort of like blueprint on repeat. It's like the three things that we biologically are hacked to pay attention to. So that is sex, violence, and food. If you have a series or documentary or a movie that involves those three things, the audience cannot help but watch. Mm-hmm. If you see a violent act, you're like, or if you see someone eating, like Liz just explained, you're like, and if you see somebody having sex, biologically, you're like, they're doing it. You can't not pay attention to that. Even if it's subtle, even if it is just someone drinking a coffee, to the full extreme of having a full-on family meal at a table, even if it is someone having a romantic kiss, all the way to like full-on, like, intimacy, connection. Even if it is someone simply shouting loudly at someone else, verbal abuse, to full-on physical violence, death to a degree. Some people are highly addicted to what is known as murder porn. Like, there's people that love to watch murder shows for some reason. Like, who knows why? It's
like serial killer documentary.
Right. And there's something about that.
I think most females do. Yeah, pretty much everyone I know watches something to do with murder.
Isn't that strange?
It is strange, but no, it's not. I can't say it's not strange. I think I know why, but it's deep and it's spiritual and it's not right nor wrong. But there is definitely an element to life that involves that nature of all of us, by the way. I'm not talking about like you're biologically a woman or you're biologically a man, therefore you can or cannot do a certain thing other than obviously give birth and whatnot. But I mean, the masculine and feminine, the yin and the yang, coexists in all of us. The heaven, the hell, all of it comes together under the same umbrella. So yeah, when going to explore that element of what I would describe as attraction, I suppose to a degree, we are all biologically hacked in that way, in that sense that man will find certain fighting attractive, boxing, martial arts, MMA, women will find, I suppose,
draws us in.
Yeah, it draws us in. I know I went on a bit of a tangent there, and I apologize. But okay. Yeah, so that subliminal, product placement that Michael said, and Liz, when you spoke about being influenced by an act like eating, that's what I was trying to get at in regards to that. But you're not wrong. So yes, Michael, movies is definitely something where subliminal messaging or PWA is active. It's very, very active. Can you think of any more, guys?
Yeah, Disney. So you go to a Disney park.
I knew you was going to mention Disney. Mm-hmm.
Have a rant.
Smells of popcorn and candy.
Yes.
And they are called scintillators or something like that. Scintillators.
Yes.
And that is like artificial spray that's sprayed out so that you get hungry as you're walking along and you go, oh, that's not nice. I'm going to go buy some.
So crazy.
Oh, right. It smells so nice there.
Right. So Michael's not wrong. So we've already spoke about sight in movies and seeing things. But yes, Disney also clocked on that it is a subliminal message, as in if we can get them to smell food, they are going to go to what it is they're smelling. So Michael, you're spot on there. Disney purposely put scented ventilators. As soon as you walk into the park, you are hit with a smell of waffles, scent like, cinnamon or sweet waffles. And then, literally 10 steps later, there is an ice cream shop. There's a waffle shop. They are enticing you because you've already smelled it. You already know what it is. Your brain's logging it. Like, we know this smell. We're in Disney World as well. Let's go and get ourselves an ice cream. Let's go get ourselves waffles with cream on it or whatever. And yeah, they did that. I also wanted to say that, actually, I'll leave it for later on in the episode. You have to stay tuned in for this because Disney is on my radar, Michael. And I'm very glad that you said it because I know a lot of people, conspiracists especially, love to go down the rabbit hole of Disney and whether or not it is evil or whether or not it is good. I personally have to say that some of the stuff I've discovered about Disney has made me question it massively as to whether or not it's trying to indoctrinate our youth into being a certain type of way. I must also highlight, though, that it has also shown me a lot of magic in feeling of like, you know, the good versus evil, the heroes, and plus all of the stories. Like, there's a lot of good stories in there. Fox and the Hound, you know, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, you name it. They've nailed some really good stories. And I don't want to say that they're doing a great job now in 2024. However, in the era of like the 90s and the, you know, the noughties and 2010, they did really well at redoing a lot of the stories, even showing now the villain's story, which is now even more relatable as an adult, because you think no one was born evil. Something happened along the way. Something turned. Do you get what I mean?
Mm.
I know I keep going on a tangent, guys. Sorry.
We all kind of grew up.
It's nice.
The old stuff, didn't we? Like what you mentioned, and those are like classics. And although there will be subliminal messages in all of those films, I feel like it's not as much as now. I notice it more now because I'm aware of it. And like we're discussing this now, when I watch certain things, when it's really obvious right in front of us that they're trying to kind of influence us in a certain way of thinking, influence us in a certain way of speaking, being, like whatever. And even it's what I really don't like about it is the political agendas that a lot of programs get involved with, and they try to subliminally tell our children, oh, you should do this, you should do that. That's where I'm like, okay, just do your job of entertaining. Don't try and indoctrinate the children, leave them alone. You know,
Liz,
so
yes.
yeah.
I love your freedom fighter in you, Liz, because it will always show. It is impossible for you to keep that caged, so don't keep it caged. Let that fire be seen.
I try really, really hard to kind of, I just, you know, it's there.
Yeah, 100%. You are who you are. Your purpose is there. Like if there are many who are afraid to speak, let's get that right. Now, I personally love to help people think for themselves. That's my purpose. I believe that I'm here to help people have the ability to, I suppose, wander into thoughts that allow them to process their own thoughts, as opposed to what we know can be limited thinking. We're not about that. We're about critical thinking. But obviously, once you start critical thinking, you start critical questioning. And then when you start critical questioning, you start thinking, yeah, it doesn't make sense. Right. But you're not, okay, so before we keep going off on them, right, we've covered movies, we've covered Disney, which we're going to go back to, by the way. Is there anything else you can think about or think of, and you viewers, that have subliminal messages or PWA around in?
What, don't video games? Like,
I suppose so. Are you talking about the biological hacking? Because I remember there was this big thing once.
Yeah.
Women were raging against video game developers because they would always hypersexualize women in games in a way that they would make the characters more busty, bigger booty, you know, more.
There's nothing wrong with a curvy woman. That's all.
There's nothing wrong. Yeah, 100%, Liz. Yes, Liz. But yes, what that massive push was I guess was unrealistic expectations then, because you're like the large majority of the youth play those games. They're seeing women only in that light as opposed to the full spectrum, and it's unrealistic expectations in the youth. So I guess, yes, to a degree, video games can subliminally, but I don't think it's malicious. I don't think it's a malicious or a...
Yeah, it's an influence in the mind.
Yeah, biological hacking almost. Like, you know, young boys like girls with big boobs and big bums. Want them to play the game. You know what I mean? Get them.
Yeah.
Right.
Again, same as Disney with the. Oh, I can smell waffle.
I've never ever played a game because it had a female in it.
Well, that's good to hear, Michael. That's good to know. You just like playing the game.
Well, I can't agree. I cannot admit I've played games and I'm like, damn, whoever made that character, yes, bro. That's exactly how you should have made that character. Look at the, you know what I mean? Like,
I'm not saying I haven't seen any on there that I'm like, yeah, that's good. But I've never got a game and gone, oh yeah, I'm going to play this because it's got female.
Was it GTA that everybody went funny about? Or the women? Was it?
Honestly, I think games now have gone to the point where it's just your own personal preference. There's a game for everybody out there. You can literally find what your taste buds want. I remember before when it was developing, Tomb Raider was huge. Lara Croft, girl with
love
guns.
Tomb Raider.
Saying that.
She's so fit. She's a computer game, bro. Calm down. But yeah, did you see the film with Angelina Jolie? I was like, come on, bro. Like, you know what I mean? It can be now, I suppose, fair because there's games made for everybody. If you don't like it, don't buy it, right? There's a game out there for you. Whereas before, it was very, I suppose, the industry wasn't as huge and it was very like, that's all we see. Girls like that. There's nothing else. Do you get what I mean? So, yeah, okay. Computer games, Liz, yeah. Is there anything else? Subliminal messages.
PWA. There's going to be a lot in songs.
Adverts on, like, advertising.
Keep going.
Like adverts, billboards, TV adverts, radio adverts, adverts in shopping malls, adverts, even when you're in the hospital and there's stuff being, you can look like this or you can have this. It's all like planting seeds in the brain.
Yes, planting seeds in the brain. Michael, what was you going to say?
I said songs, because in songs there's a lot of...
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, definitely.
And they property back, because there's quite a few songs that as soon as it plays, it takes me back somewhere. And I only have those memories when those songs are playing.
Do you know of smell as well? Because what you just said, Michael, about how it takes you back. Our sensory, our smell. I learned this when I was doing candle making ages ago. That when we obviously sniff a smell a scent, it's always kind of sentimental. Our sensory takes us back to whether it's a Christmas, it reminds us of a Christmas time, or it reminds us of when you lived in the countryside, or there's always a memory to do with that smell, which is why. I'm drawn to certain things or that smell a certain way. Anyway, sorry, I went off on a tangent.
No, it's wonderful. Right, so sounds and smells and sight, obviously, they're the things that are what make us witness whatever. But it isn't a subliminal. This is, you are aware of this. The awareness is there. I am smelling this and it reminds me of this and I'm very aware that's what's triggered it. If we look into like the psychology or I think it's psychology, do you know of Pavlov, or is it Pavlov's dog, where he rings the bell before he feeds his dog, and he does this over a course of time, and now his dog is fully aware that when the bell rings, it's going to be fed.
Yeah.
But what the dog cannot help is that when the bell gets rung after a certain period of time, is that his body is reacting faster. It starts to drool. He starts to, saliva's coming from his mouth. Pavlov, I think that's his name. I don't know if it's Pavlov. Don't correct me, or you can correct me. Fair enough. He then put the same concept towards human beings. So what Michael has said and what you have said, Liz, is 100% true. When you are triggered by something that reminds you of something, your body may react a certain way. Some can see this as traumatic. Others can see this as the other way, like not traumatic. It's quite, I don't know what the opposite of that is, but euphoric. And it's like it has the ability to do that to us. Now, I actually spoke with one of my youngers the other day. He actually visited me and we went for a walk and a talk. And I don't hope he doesn't mind me saying this. I'm not going to mention who he is, so it doesn't matter. We spoke about something that has become very, very serious in amongst young men, and that is obviously porn addiction and how it is now Pavlov's dog. Anytime that you are doing a certain act and feeling a sensation, but it's triggered by something else rather than natural, you are now Pavlov's dog in a way. So anytime you log onto your screen, because over so long you've been feeling a certain way because of the screen, anytime you see a screen now, your body's reacting before your awareness and brain. Do you get what I mean? Mm-hmm. I know that's a bit of an extreme thing, and I know that's something that some might find a bit shocking to hear, but it's a real thing, and I don't think it should be ignored. It's mature, obviously, to talk about, but it's real and serious. Apply it to other things, and you may start to realize that, wow, we are really biologically hacked. So that's why we're having this ETC episode, because subliminal messages and PWA are important for an individual to be aware of. It's real. And you may find yourself acting a certain way or being a certain way, and you don't know why until you get it. So, yeah, that's why we're doing it. All right, anyway, that's what I asked. Sorry, that's what I asked. Is there anything else? So, Liz, you mentioned media, billboards. Michael said music. You said film. And was there anything else?
Well, I guess social media. That is a hot form of media, isn't it?
So the subliminal messaging on social media, I suppose it depends what platform, because I don't believe it's the platform that are putting subliminal messages in the content.
It's the content.
The content.
Yeah.
Right. There's something that I looked into, and it was to do with the PWA. So, shopping centers and supermarkets, did you know that they strategically place things around and design the layout of the supermarket using PWA? It's perception without awareness. So I don't know if you know this, but if you drive on the left-hand side of the road, because you're from the UK, for example, or if you drive on the right-hand side of the road, because you're from America, for example, when you go into a shopping center, they normally like to orientate the flow of traffic to go the way you do on the road. It makes you feel more happier and comfortable to go with that flow, because you naturally do. So if you're in the UK, next time you're in a supermarket, observe which direction people are flowing, which direction the traffic of the customers is flowing. Is it going clockwise, or is it going anti-clockwise if you're in America, for example? That being said, did you know that obviously when you go into a supermarket, what's the first thing normally that you will encounter when you enter a supermarket?
A trolley or a basket. And
I'm thinking fruit.
What I mean is What I mean is, when you go into the supermarket, you're obviously there to buy food and drinks and whatever you need. Normally, when you enter a supermarket, you normally will be encountered first by the most attractive thing to lure you in. That is normally flowers, fruits, and vegetables. They purposely put that at the start of your shopping experience, because you are warmed in by that. It's a nice, oh, look, there's flowers there. Oh, look, there's fruits and vegetables there. The natural, real food that we should be eating. That's what you will enter into. Just so you know. Now, is this subliminal or perception without awareness? Well, if you're not aware, then I guess it is. Did you also know that the most essential food items are put purposely at certain places in the supermarket? Where do you think they put those?
At the back.
Yes, Michael.
You have to walk past everything.
Walk through every single thing and see what else they have on to offer, so you can load your trolley up with more, and they profit more from that.
Yes. So they will normally place the most essential things you go in for, which is normally food, dairy, eggs, milk, bread, I suppose, you know, at the back of the store or at the far corner of the store. So you will end up going there.
But it's the same as Disney World or like Legoland. They make you walk through the stores, like the gift stores, to get out once you've been on a ride or once you've been into one of the museums. And as you come out, you literally cannot exit it without going past all the shelves where you know you're going to get, can I have this? Can I have that? Can I have this? Can I have that? And then you have to remortgage the house to pay for it all.
Right. Right. You know, the profit margin on products in supermarkets is actually quite small. It's actually 1% to 2%. That is not a lot of profit in regards to items. However, the major ones normally sit at about 40%. Now, those are things like chewing gums and snacks and small items like nuts and stuff. Where do you normally find those?
At the tills.
Yes, Michael, at the tills.
Right in front of you as you're
at the tills. Yes, so everybody that goes in the supermarket normally has to go past the till on their way out. So they strategically put the higher profit items at the tills because they know everyone's going to get there. Also, there is something known as decision fatigue. Once you've gone around that supermarket making a decision on whether or not to get, I don't know, Shreddies or Cocoa Pops, right? You're constantly making these decisions on what you want. By the time you get to the till, your decision fatigue is done. And when it is like, oh, you know what, there's some nuts there, or there's Tic Tacs there, or chewing gum there, or whatever is there, you're like, yeah, just put it in there, it's fine. And that's why they make more profit on those items. Just so you know.
Also,
go on, Michael.
If you go in there, you don't find what you're looking for, you kind of feel like you have to get something.
Yeah.
So
but you get
on your way out, you just grab something.
Walked all the way round for nothing, so I might as well get something.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is all perception without awareness, because obviously now we're making people aware. They may go into a supermarket now knowing full well what they're walking into. It's like, oh, that's why that's the way it is. And that's why that's there.
I also, having done like some research on certain products, like for women, I noticed that the things that are better for you, like better for your body, certain products for women, I mean, I'm sure it's the same for men and children as well, they tend to be higher up or lower down. They're never and I noticed, and it was in sort of looking for certain, natural products, more natural products for myself personally, that I noticed this when I went shopping. I noticed that all of the top brands were right in my vision, but all of the more natural and safer products that I could use on my body or whatever was higher up.
Yes.
Like almost that I had to ask somebody to get them for me, that high up. And I used to think to myself, okay.
Right. So I'll tell you what that is there, Liz, yeah? That is called something, eye level is buy level.
Mm-hmm.
So anybody that goes into the shop that knows what they want, they don't mind putting them on the top shelves, because the person that are going to get that, they are happy to look and find, like, there it is, I need to get that. But most people will just see it at the eye level and be like, that's all that's available, I'll take that one. Because I'm not really fussed about what I'm specifically looking for, as long as it is that. Do you get what I mean? They also do this, like you mentioned, children. So the higher sugary snacks, or the things that have the more appeal to children, they are on their level. So they will not nag the parent. That's not fair, but they will say to the parent, I really want this. Yeah, only because you've seen it. If that was on the top shelf, you would never have seen it. So they do know that. Whether that is perception without awareness, or subliminal messaging, who knows? But I think it is, to a degree. It's strategic, obviously. They want to make profit. I get it. You want people to spend more in your store. I understand that. But now that you're aware, have the kids on your shoulders when you go shopping.
Yeah.
Cool. So we've covered the shopping centres, the supermarkets, the movies, and obviously the music. Newspapers. Do you think there is subliminal messages in newspapers?
Yes.
I haven't read one in years.
With pictures, and like headlines, wording. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
It's a tough one with newspapers.
With people where they've said, oh no, I read it in such and such, I read it in that article, and I'm like, no, it didn't happen like that. You need to go back to it and check. And then they'll be like, oh, actually, I got it wrong. I read the headline, but then so it's funny. Sometimes I think we perceive what we think when we're reading stuff, or when and I also seeing a picture and a headline. It's very hypnotizing. So you can look at the picture visually, and then the headline, and then your brain automatically will kind of make up the scenario. It's very
Carl Pilkington was the worst for it. He would only read the headline. And the actual story has got nothing to do with it. But you read the headline, you go on to the podcast, talk about it, and then Ricky Gervais would be like, so did you actually read it? No, I just read the headline.
That's what I mean. It is kind of a message that people perceive, and then people will go off of that without actually going into the facts and the truth, or even just the story or the article itself.
And sometimes what they're saying isn't necessarily false. Like, there's sometimes an element of truth to it, however, how it's worded, but also the font and the color and the positioning and placement is what is the PWA. So you can almost influence someone's way of reading depending on how it's presented. If it's like big, bold letters with an exclamation mark, it's got emphasis, it's got energy, it's got passion. If it's dull and not really, no one's going to read it the same way. And I feel like that's the PWA. It's tough, isn't it? The media and the newspapers, like Denzel Washington said, like, if you don't read it, you're uninformed. If you do read it, you're misinformed. Catch 22, ain't it? But it's there and it does what it does. Okay, so, and I mentioned before that we would go back to theme parks. And Michael, you said about Disney World and the smells thing. I don't know if I've mentioned this in the past, but excuse me, Disney does fascinate me in a way that I cannot call them malicious or satanic or anything like that, because if you live it, you know it. I haven't lived it. And then all this conspiracy stuff that surrounds it and shrouds it, it can make you think, maybe, it's a bit crazy. Now, it does make me question something that is a subliminal or perception without awareness on the same cusp of this. They actually use certain color paint in their parks to conceal obvious doors or pathways. And they will paint certain doors with a specific color. That color is known as go away green and blending blue. They have painted certain things in their parks like that, and that is to not distract the people in the park. They will just not see it. They will literally not see it. And when I say they, I'm one of them. You know what I mean? I wouldn't see it. I'm human, just like them. And you have to ask yourself, why are you doing that? Why are you concealing that door in plain sight, by the way? In plain sight.
So the reason being is if you have a normal coloured door, it will ruin. So the whole point of the parks is that that's why they call the cast members. So when you get into that park, you are part of the film, so it's all part of like a script.
It's kind of.
So if you see a door, you see that as something that shouldn't be part of that scene. So that's why they hide them, because then it's not losing the magic of that scene.
I see what you mean. It just keeps people
and also, if you from afar, because there's some buildings that hide in the others. So if you look at the Tower, on one side is the Tower normal hotel building. You look from the opposite side, it's actually painted the same colour as the area that can see it, so it looks like it blends in.
Yes.
So even though it's ages away and it's in a different theme area, it blends in with that area.
Yes, Michael, I totally get what you're saying, and it justifies the reason why. But obviously, if you look at it from the perception of a conspiracist, like why are they concealing doors? And then you hear the stories of people going missing and all that sort of stuff. And you just think, literally, you wouldn't even see it. You wouldn't even see it.
Also, Disney is, if you go to Magic Kingdom, you're walking on the first floor because there's a floor underneath you that. So the idea was, Walt didn't want like Mickey Mouse from Adventureland to be in a different area. So if they're walking to where they're working that day, they couldn't walk through a different part, like Fanta's future world.
So there's an underground pathways for employees to get from A to B without being seen.
Yeah.
That's all right, isn't it, I suppose? That's one way to explain it.
Same with doorways.
Yeah, it's a way to justify it, I guess. Or, Michael, there's underground passageways that no one knows about, and if you're getting kidnapped, you're getting taken, and no one knows. They're just walking above you.
I've been down there. People know about them. I've been down there.
Like the catacombs in flipping France, I suppose. Is that right? Is that catacombs in France, the underground tunnels?
That's what we were saying at the start. We'll probably never, ever really know.
I've been down in the corridors in Magic Kingdom. I've seen them.
Would you?
It's just not allowed in the centre.
You want to know if all of the answers to the conspiracies and stories and the myths. I don't know if I'd want to know the complete. I mean, obviously, the truth is the truth, and it does always come out. But would you want to know, like, Yeah.
In all honesty, I believe anybody that provides a happier experience for someone else's experience of life is like a worthy acknowledgement. I think that most people that mean well and want to do well for others, that's the way to be. The conspiracies behind like secret societies, malicious groups, associations with satanic rituals and stuff like that. Your life is your life, and if you want to associate yourself with that, that's your choice. What I can't stand is what I can't stand for is how it's forced upon some at birth, like you're born into a subliminal world, teaching you or training you, indoctrinating you through subliminal messaging or perception without awareness into making decisions and being and acting a certain way that isn't your natural way. People are fighting literally for their lives, for their freedom back, to be able to think for themselves, see it for themselves, and then make the choice. I don't want to live in a world with that, and therefore I won't participate in that, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But if people aren't aware of PWA, if people aren't aware of subliminal messages, how are they supposed to associate it? How are they supposed to know this is actually happening to you? Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, sure.
You know what I'm saying? If you woke up every day, listen to the same radio station, and subliminally they're playing a whistling tune, then later on in the day, every night you're going home and whistling that tune, and you don't know why. It's very important that you do know why. It's because that station you keep listening to keep playing it, and you don't even like that song. You're just singing it now, right?
Yeah. See, I'm on the other hand. I know about this stuff, and yet I don't care about it.
What if I told you that the power of the mind is so powerful that if you have a song playing over a certain amount of time and you're hypnotically, because you're hypnotized by it, singing away with it, getting a whole nation to sing it, we already spoke about collective consciousness in previous episodes. We've already spoke about how the masses have a massive impact on what we are experiencing. Rihanna's song Umbrella with Jay-Z was number one for something like months. It was huge. It was massive. It was played everywhere constantly, and everyone knows the tune. Umbrella, Ella, Ella, A. Kids were singing it. Adults were singing it. It was broadcast. You might want to look into this. How many weeks did it rain for? When was the biggest amount of rain? The longest winter that ever? This is not a flipping joke. People singing this song are literally calling in the rain.
Really? What? I need to look into this.
I'm not making it up. You've got to look into it. And that's the power of it. This is the point I'm making. Subliminally messaging. It's not even subliminal. It's obvious. That's what you're singing. But you're doing it and you don't even know how it's affecting your life. You just think, oh, it's raining. It's been raining for flipping months. Yeah. Stop singing that song. Stop it. Get it off the radio, for Christ's sake. We want the sun back. And that's the power. That's the power of it. So summarizing everything we've spoke about, be very aware of the subliminal messaging and be very aware of the perception without awareness, because without the awareness, you cannot see it. It will just happen. And next thing you know, you could be living a life that you don't want, but you've got to be aware. ETC, baby.
Well, the longest, it was 1939 to 1940, 331 consecutive days of rainfall.
Yeah, but what about Rihanna's
song coming in 2007?
Yeah, so don't worry about that. I'm not saying it's the most ever it rained, but look into when the Rihanna song was, that number one song was, and how long it rained for. That's when you want to look into it. 100%. I didn't mean to do it on the episode, Michael. I mean, it's for anybody that who wants to look into it. Look into it.
Because don't give the answer, because people will go and do it.
Yeah, right.
Well, I might be wrong. Prove me wrong.
Okay, so Liz, Michael, that is subliminal messaging and perception without awareness. And I'm so glad that you guys are here with me tonight, obviously adding more to what it is, because I love it. It is so, so good. Is there anything else you want to add to tonight's episode before we say goodbye?
No, it's been enjoyable.
It's been fun, hasn't it? It is fun. It's good to explore. I love it. I really do. Okay, so guys, thank you so much for joining us tonight on another episode of ETC. You know what to do. You know how to do it. If you're watching us on the YouTube, please hit that like, hit that subscribe button. It really does help us out. And if you're listening to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or any other platform, obviously do the same as well. And we just want to say thank you from me, Liz, and Michael. You guys mean a lot to us. We're seeing a lot more comments as well, which are inspiring us to maybe do an episode on. So we shout outs to you guys. And look forward to the next one. So from me, Liz, and Michael, everyone everywhere, peace and love.
Bye.
All right, guys.
Right.
End of episode. Obviously, the final thing. What's special about today? I'll make it quick because I know you've got to shoot, Liz. Okay, so what's special about today? I hope I say this right. It's Beta Glucan Day. Beta glucan day. So what is that? Well, basically, beta glucan is the most powerful substance on Earth that trains your immune system to defend against cancer, viral infections, and chronic disease. So you can get things like vitamin A, zinc, things like that help boost your immunity. However, beta glucan is like, it blows them out the water. It's in its own league. You can get this from things like oats, barley, fungi, mushrooms, and seaweed. So, guys, today, 22nd of July, is Beta Glucan Day. So I don't know if many people knew about that, but look into that if you're looking to boost your immune system. Don't worry about the traditional vitamin shit and zinc and all that, even though you need that. You do need that, but look into Beta Glucan as well. It's also Mango Day. So on the 22nd of July, make sure you got your mangoes if you enjoy mangoes, of course. It's actually National Hammock Day as well. Don't know if you guys knew that.
Getting a hammock soon.
Incredible. So once a year, Liz, get it out, and on the 22nd of July.
Out more than just one day, but yeah.
100%. Did you know it was originally woven? It was originally woven bark from the hammock tree, hence why it's now called the hammock, but it's a hammock tree. Just so you know. Didn't know if you knew that. From the Mayans and their wonderful calendar. You know the story of the Pied Piper?
Yeah.
Yeah, Pied Piper of Hamelin from Germany, old folk tale. It is actually the National Rat Catcher Day today. So to celebrate the story of the Pied Piper, how he got rid of all the rats in the city. And I don't want to spoil the twist of the story, but if you know the story, you know the story. But if not, it's quite a good story. Pied Piper. It's Sarawak Day as well. So there's a state in Malaysia that is, claimed its independence from the British Empire. It seems like the British Empire, all they did was actually give loads of other countries independence days. There was nothing else it really did other than that. What a history we have to explore. Maybe we should do an episode on that. But so there we go, Sarawak in Malaysia. And it is also Brain Day today, 22nd of July, health of the brain. So whether you're trying to become smarter, help your neuro pathways develop better, eat your nuts, eat your fungi, however you're doing it, celebrate your brain today. It's the 22nd of July, and that's the day to celebrate it. So this time next year, write it down in your diary, make yourself prepared, have your mangoes ready, top up on your beta glucan. You can lay back in your hammock and relax whilst having your mango, and maybe read the story or listen to the story of the Pied Piper. And you could do that in Malaysia, in Sarawak, celebrating its independence, and all the while stimulating your brain for better health. There you go.
Put
it
in your diary.
Exactly.
You do make me giggle.
And that is what's special about today, the little bonus we do at the end of the episode. Yeah. You like that, don't you, Liz and Michael?
I like 'em.
I do.
Every time I get to the end and you say goodbye, I'm like, he ain't done it.
We got it. Well, guys, thank you again. Liz, Michael, my shield, my sword, my yin, my yang, my co-hosts. Wouldn't be here without you, and I am so grateful for you. I really am. Especially all the viewers as well that keep us motivated. Like I said, those comments have, promoted us to maybe do some episodes and some of the stuff you're talking about. Once we reach 1,000 subscribers on the YouTube as well, we have all said that we will be doing a live episode at Canooden Church, which is haunted church in Essex, and where Anne Boleyn done some witchcraft, and Liz can't wait. Michael can't wait. Jules can wait. But I'm not really
I
into
nearly went there, didn't I? I nearly went there just to see.
Yeah,
I mean, no, I'll wait.
I promise you, if you went there on your own, you wouldn't get out of the car. I don't care who you are or how big you think your balls are. It's eerie, man. It is so eerie, and
it's gonna be
tell
fun.
you what, I've got a week off next week.
Yeah, but it's all right. It's not Halloween, Mike. All right, listen. When we get to 1,000 subscribers, we said that we would do it. We're going to definitely do it.
1,000, just so I can kind of prepare.
Yes, we're at near 840 at the minute, so we're nearly there. We've got a bit of time.
Left to go.
So yeah, if you haven't done so already, help us, boost us, hit a like, hit a subscribe, and we're really, really grateful for that. And look forward to the next episode
because that will be a fun one.
Right.
We're not releasing when we're going though, because there'll be people there, won't they?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. yeah, there'll be people messing with us in the bushes. Right. Liz, Michael, thank you so much for being here. Viewers, we love you so much. Thank you. And, from me, Liz and Michael, everybody everywhere, peace and love.
God bless.